Before starting, I would become very familiar with the instruction and guidelines that are specifically from the manufacturer of your unit. You can get this, go to the internet, and you can actually download the manual for free. This should be done every time you change the filter and the membrane of the system. After becoming very familiar with the guidelines and instructions from the manufacturer, it's time to open up that cabinet and start cleaning out all that clutter. Right, kiddo?
Yeah.
By cleaning out that entire area, you're going to have a lot more access to the parts that we are going to be removing, reinstalling, as well as recharging. As far as the items you'll need to complete this process, this might surprise you, there is only 2. Tire pressure gauge, everyone's got one of those lying around the house, or take a look in the glove box of your vehicle, you might find one there. And a bicycle pump, you may be able to use one as simple as this. Or you can use a pump like this, which I recommend. Whatever you do, don't use an air compressor, because that could overcharge the system pretty quickly, and that could harm the air bladder inside the tank, and you don't want that. At this point, I'm going to refer back to the instructions, and as you can see here, one of the number one things that you want to make sure you do is disconnect the Icemaker if it is connected to the system. In our case, we don't have an Icemaker connected to the system, so we're going to bypass this. Go right to step 2, turn off water supply to the system. Down below, you want to search for the actual inline valve that is connected and feeds your osmosis system. And as you can see right here, the valve, when it's in line with the line or water line, it is open. So what we are going to do is close it to shut off the water to the system. Next, take a look at the top of the tank. Some have an inline angle valve connected to the top. This one does not, but at this point you still want to keep that one open because next we're going to drain that tank. Now we're up top. Go ahead and turn on the water and grab a glass and fill it about halfway up. This is going to come in play later when we test the TDS, which stands for Total Dissolved Solids. Let all that water drain out of the tank. It could take several minutes. Alright, it is stopped draining. I'm going to keep that lever open for maybe a couple more minutes. As far as the faucet handle, you can leave it open or you can close it. Down below the pressure tank, give it a little wiggle, make sure it is very light and kind of gives you the indication that the water has completely drained out. Next thing we are going to address is this little blue cap, and that is covering the Schrader valve. By turning it to the left, you are going to be able to access the Schrader valve on your tank. Go ahead and grab your tire gauge, check the pressure on your tank. You'll notice mine's pretty low. It needs to be between 5 and 7 psi to properly and efficiently run the system. So we are going to need to add some air. Once you get the pump connected to the tank, come back up here and make sure that the faucet is open. This is going to allow, during the pumping process, any dead remaining water that's sitting on top of that air bladder inside that tank, it's going to push it out. That, at the end, will give you an accurate reading on the pressure gauge. If you have any remaining water that's sitting in that tank on top of that bladder, you're going to get an inaccurate reading. I have the bicycle pump hooked up now, and we are going to give it a couple pumps. And you're going to do that until it gets between 5 and 7 psi. At this point, you've got a couple pumps inside, and it looks as if we've got that right where we want it, between 5 and 7 psi. And this tank is back to its normal and proper psi. We're going to put the Schrader valve cap back on. At this point, we're going to move on to changing the pre-filter, the membrane, and the post-filter, as well as sanitizing the entire system. So there's going to be a video that pops up. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to take you to the next step in the process. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, keep watching. We'll see you at the next video.